Okay, so how's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning in. So this is just a quick, brief 101 soldering diagram. I'm going to show how I'm going to wire these 4 speakers. There's a lot of good soldering tutorials already out there. I'll just give a quick couple of tips and then we'll move on to the sound demo. So I'm using this ESU 51942, 51943 wire. It's 36 gauge, right? Red and black. Okay. And then I made up 2 little crossover pigtails like this. Just 2 pieces of wire and then pigtailed, soldered, tinned, and then another shorter piece there for the negative side, and then one for the positive side for turning the 2 series blocks into parallel. Okay, and I'll show you with this diagram, and I do this because I don't want to mess up. I like things loud and obvious. So there's 4 speakers. So speakers 1 and 2 are these 2 on the left. And they're going to be wired in series, first the negative and positive side like this, which I've already done. I'll zoom in and show you that in a second. And then block 2 is speakers 3 and 4. And there I put a jumper in there already too from negative to positive. So block 1, the first solder is at negative positive, block 2 negative positive, right? Okay, let me zoom in now. Okay, so notice how what I've done here as well to try to make this idiot proof, because I've made mistakes before with the simplest things. To phase all these speakers right, to know they're not marked positive, negative. So on the left I put a red dot. But you got to have all the speakers the same, lined up, standing up, right? Red on the left for positive, black on the right for negative. That's how I phase them to keep them in phase, okay? This is block 1, these 2, this is block 2. And they get wired, the 2 blocks that start out being wired in series get wired in parallel, just like in this diagram, see? There's a negative, let's just say negative, and then positive on this side. Okay, and then in order to solder to these challenging tiny little tabs, let me zoom in one more time. I'll show you what I do. So I take a wire that's already tinned. A piece of wire, I already tinned the end of this, and then I nip it off short to the length I want. I do not tin the tab on this speaker. I don't want to put any more heat on here than I have to on the little soldering tab. So once this is tinned, I just dip it into the flux, just poke it in, pull it out. It's a little tiny layer of flux on there, and then I just hold it onto the tab, whichever you're comfortable with, like this, and then I just touch it. Tug on it. It's a good solder, right? Okay. And then I'm going to jump over to the other one here. Add a little bit of flux there. Oops. Probably just a bit too much there than I need. Now I'm going to pop that one over. That one's good too, but there's hardly any solders needed. You use too much solder, you end up with a cold solder, and you always know you got a good solder when it's really glossy, shiny silver, right? So that's that one, and then this end here, we zoom out now. This is this one, right? So this goes to the decoder on one side, and then I do the same with these 2 remaining positive terminals. One right there, and then I jump over to this one and go right to the decoder. And she's wired series in parallel. Okay? Just like this. just jump to the bench and listen to a run up on her. Okay, so here we are at the layout, and as you can see, I haven't got all the details on her yet, but I'll do that later. But let's do a sound run up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a startup from idle, and then I'll do a horn test, and then I'll do a slow notch up to 8 so you can hear the full range of the sounds in the recording, and then I'll do a progressive notch down, and then give you a bell test, and then I'll just do a quick run up the track a little ways and then back for a break test, okay? And then mention a couple things at the end, all right? Okay, so this is a bit of an addendum. I just realized I should add to this episode before I upload. In fact, I was uploading the episode, then I canceled because I thought this is really important because I talked about a vented hood and non-vented, right? Meaning like I took the fan plate out of the top here, similar to the MP15, and everybody seems to like the sound of that. So I removed the plate under here with the fan, so these are like hollow openings, right? And I'm going to just show you what happens when I cover them up, and I'll try the horn as well, but as you can hear it idling, you can kind of hear that high-pitched kind of whine. Now listen. So I'll just do a bit of a run up and then block and unblock, okay? So it sounds quite muffled there. I mean, it affects different sounds differently, but in my experience, I think it's a good idea to have open fans on the top of the long hood for sound in this particular application. Try idle one more time and then it sounds cleaner and more distinctive with the fans open rather than blocked. So then what does that say about this Jeep then? You know what I mean? So it's a similar speaker enclosure, but only two. See, there's so many variables. This is my argument with sound. It's not just a pure science, right? Unless you test everything, but then every long hood dimension and cubic centimeter is different, right? Different speaker applications, different recordings. Non-vented. Vented. I don't know, what do you think? Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for being patient and tuning in and kind of supporting me here on this whole venture. It's just really exciting and fun and challenging to try to wring out the best sound you can and scale for an HO locomotive. It's a fun process, you know, learning by trial and error and so on until you get something that you really like. Unfortunately, with today's media, it's not where maybe it could be in terms of really demonstrating the true quality of sound when you have a locomotive live in front of you. It's always much better, right? Okay, so thanks everyone. Have a great day.